Sports has just always been something like I've done my whole life. Starting out, skiing was the first thing that we got into since I was born in Colorado, and so pretty much everyone skis there. And then we moved to Wisconsin, and I got into dance and gymnastics. And as school got started, I started playing basketball, softball, volleyball, and track. And it's just sports has always been something I've been a part of, and it's just like another family that you have, and you really like get close friendships with those people, and it's just something I love being a part of.
As a student, I was in FCA. We started one my 7th grade year of high school, and my dad started it. So he was my driver's ed teacher and my math teacher, and he came to faith through the area director of FCA when his dad was diagnosed and died of cancer. And so this man I'd known my whole life completely changed. And so I started my 7th grade year, and then did FCA. My dad was my Huddle leader. My mom was my youth group leader. Went to college, went on some mission trips with FCA, and then I was sure after college I was going to go to Africa and do missions and live there, and God instead had me get married and move to this tiny, tiny little town in near Wausau, which was just like my own high school that I swore I would never go back to. And so I started teaching there, and they said, hey, we kind of have an FCA, it's kind of small, would you want to do anything with it? And I thought, I love FCA, this will be really cool. So this is my 6th year at Marathon, and I've been one of their Huddle leaders then for the 6 years that I've been here. Brand new teacher, I was 23, I probably had no idea what I was doing, and I was asked to coach volleyball kind of last minute because the regular coach was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so I kind of came in having no idea what I was doing. I was 3 years older than the senior girls, which was just super awkward. And so I was Caitlin's freshman English teacher, and then her FCA Huddle leader, and then I advised yearbook and student council, and she did both of those, and then I coached her in volleyball. So I saw Caitlin a lot, and I loved it. She was just one of those students where I instantly just knew, oh, you were me in high school, and when I asked for a 2-page paper, you hand in a 7-page paper, and you ask me 8 million questions to make sure that it's right, and you're the first one at practice and the last one to leave. And she was the one that would shag the balls and remind me oh, Mrs. Zachary, now we stretch, because I never knew what I was doing because I was new. And yeah, she was definitely just one of those where I instantly knew oh, you are kind of that, stereotypical amazing student that's just good at everything, nice to everybody. And that's honestly, I believed that. I just thought her life is kind of perfect. And so then to realize her sophomore year, when I didn't have her as a student, how quickly things had changed, I was kind of, shocked by that.
Between my freshman and sophomore year, that's when I found out that I tore my labrum in my shoulder, and so I had my labrum surgery that summer. And then through my orthopedic surgeon, he referred me to a rheumatologist, and that's when I got diagnosed with my genetic disorder. My disorder is called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and there's 6 main types, but I have the hypermobility type. So basically what it does is I don't produce enough collagen, which helps make your connective tissues, and also the connective tissues I do have in my body are breaking down. As your connective tissues continually wear down, you eventually can end up paralyzed, and sports and that constant impact was breaking mine down at an even faster rate. And so if I would have kept playing sports throughout high school, I would have been paralyzed by the end of my sophomore and junior year.
Junior year, we were doing ACT test prep, and I just noticed okay, something's going on where there's more to this than kind of what meets the eye. And so she came in and finally kind of just broke down, and so then we both cried, which was wonderful, and just kind of explained this is what I'm going through. And at that point, she hadn't told any teachers, she hadn't told anyone on staff, she wasn't getting any accommodations, so for her to just get through the school day was just ridiculously painful.
There was this one practice where I fell and I couldn't get up, and I couldn't walk for 2 days after that, and it really just hit me that I needed to be done. I was destroying my body, my grades, which is what I need for the rest of my life, were going down. And with finals coming up, that's kind of what was the realization for me. With finals coming up, I couldn't keep doing this. I needed to stop so I could focus on school. We had a tournament that weekend, and I talked it over with my parents, and I didn't tell anyone until after the tournament, but I just decided that was going to be my last game. And I think right away it didn't hit me that it was my last one, and then coming to practice the next day when I talked to my coach, and like the next game was really hard for me because it just really hit me that I was done and I wasn't going to play anymore, because I've always been able to come back. I've had injuries all my life and I've always been able to come back, but that was just my time when I was done.
So we developed this plan, and I really fought for all the accommodations that she could need. And then through that, and I think then we had that trust of like, okay, Mrs. Zachary wants to help me, then it was really cool to be like, now I can talk to you about Jesus and God, and we can bring this in. And now what's even better is we talk way more about Jesus than we do about school or college or boys. Like, we focus now on all these amazing God stories that she has. So just that turn of events, I love when I go from like teacher first to like, you love Jesus and you just happen to teach.
Mrs. Zachary has just been amazing. After I was diagnosed, I was still having a hard time and I was still struggling in school because I didn't know how to manage my disorder and the pain that comes along with it in school. And so Mrs. Zachary helped me develop my 504 plan, which has been amazing, and it allows me all of the accommodations I need and just everything I need to be able to balance school and FCA and just everything I do. If I didn't have that 504, I would not have the grades I have, and I would not be able to be getting into college or even stay in college. And so Mrs. Zachary was the first one that I came to her, and she helped me start the process and sat in on all the meetings with me.
FCA as a teacher has just been so impactful because I just get to hang out with these amazing students who just are teaching me so much. Every single week they're just doing these crazy things for God, and they have no fear in sharing their faith, and they have no fear in asking these ridiculously hard questions that I never have the answer to. And I just think they are so much further in their faith at 16 and 17 than I am still as a 20-something, and it's just been incredible. And then I just think when I first came to Marathon, I was closer in age to all of my students than I was closer in age to the people that I taught with. And so I would rather hang out with high school students, nothing against adults, but when I have free time, I want to hang out with them. I want to know what they're up to and hear their amazing God stories. And I think FCA allowed me to do that in this really real way where God kind of showed me, I'll tell you where you're going to do missions, and it doesn't have to be in Africa. And I think now I realize, of course this is my mission field. What was I thinking? And so through that, and I think through just students and their stories, God has humbled me and taught me and refined me and convicted me. And then hopefully I've been able to be real with students and say, yes, I'm a teacher, but I'm a Christian first, and I love Jesus first. And that has been just really powerful because I love teaching at a public school, but I love that I get to do FCA. I always say to myself, before I get out of my car in the morning, I say that teaching is my job, but students are my mission field. And so I just FCA is what allows me to do my mission field in a public school, which has just been really powerful.